and share my screen. So let me click share. All right. So you're here today because this is part of the Citizen Science Meets Summer Reading, and the theme is Imagine Your Story. So you're going to hear about the story of the people behind the Stall Catchers project, specifically the project leader, Pietro Michelucci. And this event is supported by NNLM, the network of the National Library of Medicine, and the All of Us Research Program, specifically All of Us Pennsylvania, and SciStarter, which is a global citizen science organization. So before I get ahead of myself, let's deploy some polls. I want to know, have you ever done citizen science before? So please answer yes, no, unsure. Oh my gosh, the no's, we have 100% no. Okay, a few yeses now. Somebody's unsure, that's okay. I'm gonna give you all a few more seconds to vote. So 3, 2, 1, and I'm gonna end the poll. So it looks like it's about evenly split between yes and no, and there's one person who's unsure, and that's totally okay. You're in the right place because we're going to do some citizen science together today. So let's do our next poll. We just want to know a little bit more about you, about who's in the audience. So feel free to select the one that most resonates with you. Are you an aspiring citizen scientist? Are you a parent of an aspiring citizen scientist? Are you a troop leader, part of a library staff? Are you an educator? Are you just a bored person on the internet? Or are you none of these? Please let us know. Looks like we have a few educators in the audience, some aspiring citizen scientists, some people who don't identify with any of these categories, so we know they're not bored people on the internet. That's good. So please get those votes in as you can. All right, I'm gonna wrap up the poll now. So 3, 2, 1, and we will end the poll. So it looks like some citizen scientists, some troop leaders, our educators, and some people who don't fit into any of these categories. But by the end of the day, you'll all be citizen scientists, so that's good. All right, so I'm going to pass the mic now to Stephanie so she can talk a little bit about summer reading with Tredyffrin.
Hi all, I'm Stephanie Bragg. I'm the Youth Services Librarian at Paoli Library. We are a branch library of the Tredyffrin Township Libraries. So there's the main library, Tredyffrin Public Library, and our branch here at Paoli. So I wanted to give you just a quick rundown of what we're doing for summer reading. We've signed up with Beanstack this year, so we're doing virtual summer reading. Our link is on the screen at tredyffrinlibraries.beanstack.org, and you can participate in 2 ways for children. There's a reading challenge as well as an activity challenge. We also have challenges for teens and adults because we can't leave anybody out of the fun. Our activity challenge involves patches. Online, they're virtual patches, but they translate into real world patches just like you would get at from a troop, like if you were a Boy Scout or a Girl Scout. So these are from last year. We have an Epic Wizard patch, Mad Chef patch, board gaming, many different activities for our friends to participate in. This year we've added 4 more. So we have the Zookeeper, all about animals. We have the Mad Scientist. We have Miss Angie, I'm blanking. Can you help me?
What did you say so far? We have Globetrotter, Mad Science, Crafty Creator.
Crafty Creator, and for our creative artistic types, and
Melody Maestro, if you're
Melody
musical.
Maestro. Thank you, Miss Angie, if you're into music. So Melody Maestro, Crafty Creator, Mad Scientist, and Zookeeper are all new for this year, which again, you can learn online, earn online, and once you're completed them, once we get the patches in, you'd be able to collect them with your last year's patches or collect last year's this year as well. I did mention the Mad Scientist patch. There are about 12 activities for each patch, you only have to do 4 of them to earn it. And one of them on Mad Scientist is a citizen science activity. So by joining in with the Stall Catchers project and SciStarter, you can be one step closer to earning your Mad Scientist patch.
All right, thank you, Stephanie. So to earn that Mad Scientist patch, yes, you can do citizen science. You might be wondering, what is citizen science? The way we frame it at SciStarter is citizen science is a collaboration between scientists and those of us who are curious, concerned, and motivated to make a difference. So it's really a relationship. It's people coming together to turn their curiosity about certain issues into impact and to volunteer their time. And anyone can be a citizen scientist. So anyone from a Girl Scout to someone who is in a nursing home, all different ranges of life and all different ranges of experience can meaningfully contribute to citizen science. And the way you usually do this is through different projects, like Stall Catchers. So you find a project that resonates with you, that has instructions that you understand or that you enjoy completing. And then you do that to answer different research questions. So you'll learn specifically about what stall catchers, how to participate in stall catchers, and what questions they're trying to answer today. But with citizen science, you can do everything from astronomy to zoology and everything in between. And many of the projects you can do completely from your computer. So I know, especially in current times where, we all might be staying home a little bit more, stall catchers is a really great project for you to do because you can do it completely from your own personal devices wherever you have internet access. To give a few more quick examples, there's like the iNaturalist project, where you can take pictures of plants and animals and contribute to a global record of biodiversity. Are there projects where you can study tap water and help contribute to a national inventory of tap water pipes? And where you can go to get started is SciStarter. We want to be that connector between you and the projects that need your help to answer important questions. So I want to give you all a second here to make your own SciStarter account. Go to scistarter.org/NLM. On the left sidebar there, you'll find where you can enter your email, set up a password, and then your SciStarter account is really your pathway to finding all these different projects. And this particular page where you make your account, scistarter.org/NLM, it's a great way to find stall catchers. On this page on scistarter.org/NLM, there's also an introduction to citizen science tutorial. So, maybe after this event, you are curious and you want to dive a little bit deeper into citizen science and go at your own pace. You can complete this tutorial on your own, and there's a certificate at the end as well. I know that some of you may have minimized this and gone to the scistarter.org/NLM page to make your SciStarter account. That's totally great. We want you to do that, and we wanted to build it into this presentation specifically so it's part of the flow of this event. So I'll just pause for a second and let you all have a chance to do that. Okay, hope you started your process. I hope that you're making your SciStarter account. So as we mentioned, one of those projects featured on that scistarter.org/NLM page is stall catchers. And we actually have the project leader with us today to tell us a little bit about his story, the story of the project, and how you can get involved. So I'm going to go ahead and pass the mic to Pietro Michelucci.
Hello. So thanks a lot, Caroline. Yeah, this is great. This is going to be a lot of fun, and it's great to be here. I've already learned how to. I was going to say to pronounce the name of that library, but now I can't remember how to say it anymore. Say it for me again.
Tredyffrin.
Tredyffrin. Okay, cool.
You got it.
We were looking through these slides at the beginning, and I was just going to tell you which person I am in this slide, but I wonder if anyone can guess which one I am.
The panelists, some of the panelists already know the answers, so please don't answer. Yeah, put in the chat box who you think.
Yeah, exactly. Second from bottom right. Interesting. Someone else said that. Yeah. Nope, not even close. Yeah, so I'll just tell you, I'm the guy with the Mickey Mouse shirt who looks slightly malnourished and like he's falling asleep in the back row. Yeah, I mean, I'm self-proclaimed nerd and here to celebrate that with you all. We click to the next. So I've always enjoyed intellectual pursuits, and in middle school I discovered computers through an enrichment program at a local college in Southern Illinois, and I thought it was so cool that you could instruct a machine to do something and it would execute all the steps you gave it exactly, and all the possibilities that opened up. And you know, so I would try to program games for my friends. We'd program games for each other and that kind of thing. And then, so this is me when I was a senior in high school. So in high school, I skipped school one day because there's this, I saved up to get a home computer. At the time, home computers were a new thing. But they were very slow. So this was, you know, in the late 80s, and I wanted to program this game called Defender, which is an old arcade game. I don't know if anyone here remembers it. Maybe click. So in order to make this game, you had to have the bottom scrolling to give you this feeling like you were moving through space and the background was moving behind you. But my computer was too slow, so I wanted to I had to use machine. I couldn't use regular programming language. I had to program at the level that the machine operates to do it. So I stayed home from school one day to teach myself how to do that, simply for the purpose of recreating this game that I could simply, you know, go to the arcade and play for a quarter. But it was definitely, you know, worth it and a lot of fun. Not that I'm suggesting people skip school, but, you know, that's becoming the new normal, I guess. So maybe this is a chance for others to do, you know, home learning. So the computers were definitely very cool, but as I thought about what I wanted to do next, I realized that I didn't really want to be a computer engineer, because I was fascinated by people too, in psychology. But I didn't know, I couldn't reconcile those two sides of myself. So I loved playing with computers and doing cool things with them. And I was still sort of, you know, as an adolescent, introspecting and thinking, gosh, you know, humans are so complicated, and, you know, how am I ever going to survive in this world? So then I enrolled at the University of Rochester, and they had a cognitive science program, click. I realized that there was a way to combine these interests. So cognitive science is an interdisciplinary field that was just kind of nascent at the time, and so I could you know, study at the intersection of psychology and computer science, and I was very fortunate to end up working with a linguistics professor there who was studying. Oh, there's a big storm coming. I hope I don't lose my power. This was Tom Bever, who was originally a student of Noam Chomsky's, who was a famous linguist, and my mentor Bever was sort of he was sometimes at odds with other views on linguistics, because there was a camp of scientists who believed that language, human language, could be explained entirely by sort of, you know, this neural networks kind of conditioned responses and learning these, you know, sort of relationships. And then there was another camp of scientists, and a much smaller one, which included my mentor, who believed there was the symbolic processing involved, and that there might be some kind of innate structures that evolved in humans specifically for language. So this was a great sort of introduction into this intersection of computers and psychology. So click. And the reason for that is that one of the tools used to study this at the time was what we called connectionist models. Today, they're known as neural networks, or you might have heard of machine learning. So connectionism was this approach taken by cognitive scientists to try to understand better what's happening in the brain by modeling cognitive processes using these neural networks. And it kind of worked both ways. So on the one hand, we take what we learn from the brain to inspire new neural network models to try to do cool things with computers. And on the other hand, we were using these neural networks to try to better model what's happening in the brain and understand the brain. And language was an opportunity, linguistics was sort of a domain we could apply this to. So we did some experiments around language learning. And being exposed to this right around the time that the internet was kind of born, and it was pre-web, but we're almost to the World Wide Web, but everyone was using email, and there was this very present notion that for me that we are all nodes connected by the internet. So then I started to get excited, and I thought, well, this seems very sort of fantastic and futuristic, but could it be that we could create kind of a global brain? If we could connect a bunch of people together by the internet in the right ways, could we come up with like a super intelligence or a global consciousness? And it seemed sort of far-fetched, and I really had no idea how that could work, but the idea intrigued me. Click. So one of the things that's different about the way that computers think and the way people think is that computers were designed to do symbolic reasoning. So the original computers that we built are simple calculators, to do math, like you might have a calculator app on your smartphone. And it's very simple stuff, but as humans, we really struggle with that. We weren't designed to multiply multi-digit numbers by other multi-digit numbers in a fraction of a second. But computers, because they have sort of a perfect memory and the ability to manipulate symbols and do these quick calculations, can do it. On the other hand, there are things that humans can do very easily, like object recognition, just being able to look at something and see that and know that that's a chair. And that might seem like a very simple thing, but chairs are actually one of the hardest things for machine learning systems to recognize. And if you think about it, it all kind of goes to what is the definition of a chair, right? It's something you can sit on, and maybe it was designed to be sat on, or maybe it wasn't. But think about all the contextual knowledge that a human brings into the process of trying to decide, is that actually a chair or not? It's not just pixels. So anyway, I was sort of fascinated by these differences and began to wonder, if there was sort of a complementarity. Can we get these two very different ways of thinking to work together to solve problems that can't be solved in other ways? Click. That's what it's like for humans to try to do symbolic processing. We're not good at it. It's like, we're riding a tricycle, and the computers can do it very easily. So next. And next again. I guess I spoke past this one. So, one of the things that we're seeing is over time, that machines are getting better and better at doing what humans can do, but there are still some things that humans do better than machines, and I believe will continue to do so for quite some time. So that, there are some who believe in this, what they call the singularity, that is, this point, beyond which machines will be able to do everything humans can do and infinitely faster, because all we have to do is add more computing power. And then, how is that going to change society and the world? Or is the AI going to come and take us over? So I don't think that's quite as close as some people think. And I think that's fortunate for us, because it gives us time to kind of develop things in a sensible way where humans retain control over these systems. But in any case, there are still things like world knowledge, social cultural awareness, abstraction, and creativity that we bring to the table. Next, please. I had a fantastic sort of serendipitous opportunity to meet some Alzheimer's researchers at Cornell University and learn about the work they were doing. And it turned out there was a chance to build this kind of system that uses machines and humans in the same sort of collective information processing system to solve a problem that couldn't be solved in any other way. It was sort of I don't know, poetic to me that we could, use minds and connect minds to build a global mind to save minds from Alzheimer's disease. This kind of a theme that sort of recapitulated. Next, please. So the problem that the folks at Cornell had was that they were trying to understand why there's this reduced brain blood flow in Alzheimer's patients. So since the beginning of Alzheimer's disease, we've known that there's less brain blood flow. And 30% less is kind of like that feeling when you suddenly stand up after you've been lying down for a while and you feel dizzy. That's 30% less brain blood flow. And Alzheimer's patients tend to have that all the time. And even though we've known about it, we've never really understood the mechanisms behind it. But the folks at Cornell made a really important discovery. Next, please. They did some studies where they looked, where they gave the human version of Alzheimer's disease to mice, and they looked deep inside the mouse brains to see what was going on. And they discovered that the very tiny blood vessels called capillaries were stalled at a much higher rate in the Alzheimer's mice than in the wild type mice. And importantly, when they removed the cells that were blocking these stalls, the mice that previously experienced memory loss and other common cognitive symptoms of Alzheimer's disease suddenly had their memory abilities restored. So this was a very kind of tantalizing result. But then that created a new problem, which is how do we come up with a safe treatment for humans to release these stalled capillaries and restore blood flow in the brain. Next, please. You know, one of the so I asked the Alzheimer's scientists, you know, this sounds very promising, but the reason we're talking is because, you know, you're at some kind of an impasse, you have some sort of a problem. You know, what's the problem, and how can I possibly help? Next, please. And next again. And they explained that when they run these studies, they'll answer one research question. They'll collect a bunch of data, imaging data from mice, some of which are wild types, some which have Alzheimer's, and they're trying these new treatments to see whether any of them actually help the mice. But it takes, just for one study and one data set, it takes 6 months to a year to analyze all the data in the lab. So that's a very slow pace of research, and it would take 10 to 30 years to potentially get to a treatment target based on that. Next slide, please. So if we figured out that, that we could actually take that task of analyzing the capillary data from the mice and gamify it, you know, create an online game where anyone, members of the general public, could quickly learn how to do this task. And then, you know, if we had enough people playing the game, then we could greatly speed up this data analysis. And in fact, we have. So now we have over 28,000 people registered on stall catchers, you know, maybe 100 to 200 people playing on any given day, and we're analyzing the data about 5 times faster than they do in the lab, which means these studies that used to take 6 to 12 months now only take 1 to 2 months. And we're answering the questions a lot faster. Next, please. I seem to be ahead of the slides today. Next again, and again. Next. Thanks. Okay, and can you click that? Okay, so this just gives you an idea of what it looks like to play stall catchers, and I'll give you an example in a few minutes of actually playing live so you can see it. So we draw a little outline around a blood vessel, and then whoever's playing the game is trying to figure out, is that one of these stalled capillaries, or is blood flowing through the capillary? That's the basic idea behind the game. But we put points on it. Some are harder, some are easier, anyway, I'll show you more in a minute. Next, please. So we've actually already answered some research questions. We have publications in academic journals, including Nature Research, which is the top tier journal that describes the findings that resulted from this analysis by members of the general public. You know, and you know, there's a whole other talk to give about, well, how do we trust the analysis by people who haven't been trained to do this? And I'd be happy to answer questions about that. But the short version is that we use wisdom of the crowds methods, and we validated that approach, and it's very, very good. Next. Oh, and I should mention that in that previous slide, actually, I don't know if you can go back, Caroline. Thanks. Yeah, you might see in the author list that stall catchers, where Caroline's pointing, stall catchers players are listed, and not all journals will let us do that, but we want to credit all the players for their contributions, and we include a link. So if you click on the stall catchers players link, it actually lists all the players who specifically contributed to that study, so they are properly credited. So next, yep, thanks. So this this chart, it's kind of a busy, crazy chart, but it gives you a sense of what we've accomplished and what we have left to do in order to try to get to a treatment target for Alzheimer's based on this research. So each green check mark that you see there is an analysis that we ran through stall catchers where we answered a question. So each of these parts are like pieces of a puzzle that explains how all these different kind of molecular processes interact to cause stalls in the brain. And this picture is actually, this model is a hypothesis. It's a very complex hypothesis, but the Cornell researchers are saying, we think that it's some interaction of all these parts that's causing the stalls. And now we're going to run a bunch of different studies to try to verify that. And so far, the three check boxes or check marks, the green ones, verify that. And then those red question marks are the studies that we're running now and analyzing in stall catchers. So, you know, from this chart, it looks like we're about halfway there. I think, you know, at least based on completing these studies, we're now, since this chart was made, we're a little bit more than halfway to completing this understanding, which we hope will then suggest a potential, a drug candidate that could be explored more seriously, maybe in clinical trials. Next, please. So I guess that that concludes what I was going to say. I wanted to.
I'll stop sharing so you can demo.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. So I'm going to try to share share my screen and show you how to play stall catchers. Okay.
You press that green button. Yeah, awesome.
Okay. Can you all see the stall catchers login screen here?
Yep.
Okay. So yeah, so the first time you go to stall catchers, this is what you'll see. It's pretty quick to register, and there are some videos and things that give you more information and explain about the research better than I just did. And so I'll just log in. So this is basically what you see when you go to play. This blue bar here is your sort of your skill level in the game. This can go up and down. So if you're having a bad day and you're not answering them very well, this could drop. How high it is will determine how many points you get for answering each one. So I'm looking at whatever vessel shows up in this orange outline, and I use this little slider to go back and forth, which is moving backward and forward in time, but also deeper and then higher through these levels of vessel tissue. This is a pretty fat vessel compared to what you normally see, and I'm going to say that this is flowing. This one isn't so obvious if you haven't played the game before. And then here it says 52 points, redeem later. So so we have two kinds of images that or videos that we show you. One is where we already know the answer, and that's how we kind of keep track of how you're doing and how high this blue bar should be. And if you get those right, you get a lot of points usually. And then we have the ones where it's part of the new data set that we're analyzing, which is what this one was. And so we'll give you a token amount of points right away. And then if your answer agrees with everyone else's answers later, or with the final crowd answer, then you get to click this green button and redeem and get a ton of points. So that's that's basically how the game works. And this bar at the top shows you our progress through analyzing the current data set. And then there's a link here provided by my colleague Agla, who is actually listening to this webinar right now as well. And then this links to an article that she wrote that explains the research that underlies the data set that's being analyzed, if you want to learn more about how, what question this is answering. So I guess I'll stop there.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to share my screen again because we're going to do Q&A. All right, so asking the questions will be Angie, the children's librarian at Tredyffrin Public Library. So Angie, I'll let you take it away.
Caroline, she lost her cursor. Can you unmute her?
Yeah, happy to. Let me do that. I'll stop sharing really quick.
Oh, she signs.
All right, where is Angie? There she is. Let's unmute her. Hey, Angie, can you hear us? Let's try one more time. Let me try one more time. For some reason, it just won't let me unmute Angie. I'm clicking unmute. I'll start off with the first question. So Pietro, can you tell us a little bit about the catchers in the stall catchers community? Since the theme of summer reading is Imagine Your Story, we wanted to hear a little bit about their story.
Wow. Well, so I think, one of the things I would say right away is I would point you to our blog, which maybe we can post the link to that. It's just blog.hcinst.org, I think. We've profiled a lot of our catchers. So there are blog posts where we interview them and get to know them a lot better, in some cases even videos of them. So that's a great way to hear their stories, and I'm sure I won't do justice to them, but I can tell you that the Stall Catchers Project has been really it's a story of people coming out of the woodwork to make it happen, and without our community, I think it simply wouldn't exist today. So we've had folks help us, players. So we've had retired folks who have such a wealth of experience, say, hey, I used to be like, the vice president of marketing for Kodak Corporation. Can I help you promote stall catchers? Wow. This guy who's been playing stall catchers, Guy Calkins, for, 2 years, and who's been a real, stand-up member of the community, suddenly has, this great help to offer us. And, we've had people of all ages. I think we have a kind of bimodal demographic. We have a lot of students. Entire classrooms will join and play, middle school and high school. We awarded the first Citizen Science Trophy to a group of students at Lake Hazel Middle School in Boise, Idaho, because they won a huge competition that we ran in stall catchers. We have team-based competitions. On the very last day, after a month-long competition, they beat out a bunch of grandparents on another team who were also sort of neck and neck with them. It was pretty close, the grandkids against the grandparents, so to speak. And the reason they won is because the teacher who organized it, there's like 250 students on this team. It was a Saturday, and she said, I'm going to bring pizza in, and anybody who wants some can show up and play stall catchers on the last day of the competition, and they won. And now that trophy sits next to the football trophy and the basketball trophy in their trophy case. I love that, the science trophies there.
Nice, very nice. I finally got my cursor, got it to work. Thank you for being patient. The next question we have is, how have libraries been a part of stall catchers?
Yeah, so I think we really started to engage with libraries. I think around April, was it April of last year? My sense of time is horrible. We were working with SciStarter to do a Citizen Science Month event, and Stall Catchers Megathon was going to be the featured event. So we've often run catchathons, which are basically stall catchers competitions. Our big one each year was the International Catchathon, where we've had representation from all 6 habitable continents each time. And but this time we wanted to really sort of go big or go home. And our goal was to analyze an entire research set, answer a question that would normally take even stall catchers 1 to 2 months, and do it in just a single weekend. Do it in one event, one short event. Hugely ambitious, and we definitely had our stumbles. mostly technical infrastructure stumbles. We had too many people on at once, and the system
Did you break
melted
the
down on.
internet? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we broke the internet.
That's what I think.
We literally broke the internet. But that event, and frankly, the libraries broke the internet. So getting back to your question, I mean, this was our first big engagement with the libraries, and this was also in partnership with the National Library of Medicine. And we had all these, library groups participating on teams and individually. And we just, it was amazing. We actually did when we finally got through it and we got the systems back online and running. I think there was one school that was sort of like our anchor, and we were getting very close to making a full pass through the data set. And then that Monday, they all came in and finished it up for us. So we did it. We actually did it. We set a world record for online Alzheimer's research, maybe online biomedical research. I don't know, but it was just exciting. I think everyone felt that energy and excitement, like we all came together and we did this and we answered a research question.
That's amazing. Miss Stephanie, who's the children's librarian at Paoli, and myself, the children's librarian at Tredyffrin, we're thinking, Stephanie suggested that we create teams and have a little competition between our libraries, friendly competition, which I think is a great idea. So we'll be working on that.
Definitely. And yeah, so I should probably mention that anybody can create a team in stall catchers. You don't need a credential to do that. You can go in, create a team, put a logo on it, and then just go and invite people to join your team, either through email. You can get a team link. So if people start playing stall catchers using that link, they'll automatically join your team. If they're existing stall catchers players and they click on that link, it'll switch whatever team they're on to your team. So yeah, you can
so we can steal people from each other.
Yes. It can get very cutthroat.
Yes.
That's for a good cause.
Of course. My last question before I open it up to questions from everybody is, what is something that you wished everyone knew about citizen science and stall catchers?
Wow. Yeah, nothing like a wide open question.
I know, right?
Something I wish everyone knew about it. I would say it's kind of like an organism. A citizen science project is like an organism. It's got so many moving parts, and they all depend on people. They depend on, obviously the people who are playing and participating in it. I mean, a crowd-powered system is only as powerful as the crowd, right? That's behind it. All the folks who are on our team today, who have come and gone. We've had volunteers. There's this site called Code for Good, and people, they want to help the world, and they're good software engineers, and they say, yeah, well, what do you need us to program? We'll program it for you. Our funding partners, Bright Focus Foundation, who took a leap of faith on our crazy idea. They do macular degeneration, Alzheimer's disease, and glaucoma. Those are the 3 diseases they fund. And we were really trying to get support for this, and we went to some of the more traditional paths for that. And Bright Focus was the one who finally said, you know what, this is so crazy, it just might work. And so we're grateful for that. And all along the way, we've had support from everywhere. So it's the whole "it takes a village" kind of thing. So
that's amazing. I think it's just so wonderful as non-scientist folk like myself as a librarian that you have made it so folks like us, patrons young and old, can participate and feel like they're making a difference in a small way and in a fun way. But it's just really amazing. So thank you so much for what you do and how you've made it attainable for us.
Oh, thank you. That's very kind. And anytime someone says that, I always feel kind of this sense of sort of reverse gratitude. We're really grateful for everyone who plays, and it's actually a big difference. It really, every single person who plays the game, even for a short time, it's just pushing us forward. You can't go back. You've got more data and you've got more information. So it's great.
Excellent.
We have
So-
enough time, I think, for 2 questions from the
All right.
audience.
Do we have any audience questions?
And Miss Angie, I'll let you pick from the audience questions
Okay.
to ask us.
So,
Yeah.
I can only see the chat because my cursor's still stuck. So I don't know if, are they coming up in chat or Q&A?
Chat. So we're taking it
Okay.
from the chat.
Okay.
So let's see what people have been chiming in on the chat. I see one question. Someone asked, what did the bottom study show? So let's quickly go back to that slide.
Yeah.
Could you tell us a little bit more about this study right here?
This is the running study. Well, so, and I'm usually the first one to say, you know, I'm not a biomedical researcher. I just play one on TV. So I would really want to defer the proper explanation to the Alzheimer's researchers. But the thing that's most notable to me about this study is that that it was actually inspired by one of our Sawcatchers players who said, "Hey, have you done a study related to exercise?" And so we brought that idea to the Cornell biomedical researchers, and because of that player suggesting it, they ran the study. You know, so wow, I mean, our players are not just analyzing data, they're actually, you know, feeding the research ideas. So that's what was most exciting about me. So I mean, from the title, you can see that you know, I think the main question is, does exercise help you know, release these stalls and improve blood flow? And it looks like that was a negative finding, but that there might have been some positive effects. But we can circle back with a proper answer to that.
We had a follow-up question from the audience. Someone asked, so running helps with short-term memory, question mark?
I mean, it certainly looks like it does from the title of the study. And again, I don't want to speak out of turn, but yeah, I mean, neurogenesis, right, is just the idea that your neurons are growing, right? So if it sounds like exercise, you know, if I had to guess, you know, you're oxygenating, you're providing a more fertile environment for cell growth. And I don't know what the mechanisms exactly are, but yeah, it sounds like you can regrow your brain better when you're exercising.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Any other questions? Are we out of time, I think, for questions?
We have time for one more. And if we don't have anything else from the audience, I have a question.
Excellent. All right. I don't see any more. Carolyn, what's your question?
So what's something about stall catchers that has surprised you since when you started it to now?
That it works, you know. I mean, I think, and surprising in the sense that, you know, you believe it's going to work. It's like the difference between theory and practice. In theory, you know, the difference between theory and practice, that in theory they're the same and in practice they're different, as the joke goes. So, you know, everything looked like it was going to work in theory, but when you actually see it happening and you see, okay, you know, we built this system, we're using wisdom of crowds, we're combining answers from many different people into expert-like answers, and wow, you know, these answers are actually as good or better than the expert answers in the lab. It almost feels like magic.
Excellent. Thank you. I think that's it for our questions.
All right. Thank you so much, Angie. And thank you, Pietro. We're going to pass the mic now to our friends at All of Us, Pennsylvania.
Great, thank you. Hi,
Thanks a lot.
I'm Lori and I work for a research program that's All of Us Pennsylvania. We are very thankful for the great partnership and support of Tredyffrin Library, and so glad you joined all of us today. We learned so much, didn't we? Next slide, please. So All of Us is a precision medicine study, but what does that mean? Well, it's a new way of looking at health treatment and prevention as being designed for individuals. Doctors can take into account a person's lifestyle, environment, and biological makeup to figure out the best treatment for that individual. Next slide. The neat thing is that we already use precision medicine in some way, such as eyeglass prescriptions. Eye doctors tell us exactly which lenses will work best for us, but when we visit our regular doctor, they may be more likely to prescribe the treatment or prevention that works for most people, Well, we aren't most people, aren't we? We're individuals. Next slide. One of the great parts about this research is just about everyone in the US can participate as long as they're over 18. And taking research to the community is the best part of this. All of Us Pennsylvania does just that. You can actually get started by visiting our website at joinallofus.org. Next slide. When a lot of people pitch in to help with this research program, we build a large national database to help eliminate one-size-fits-all medicine. And we would love for you to consider joining. Even though we can't be out in the community right now, you can get started with the online portions by completing our consent forms and then doing the surveys. And the consent forms will actually give you all of the information you need to know about the research program to see whether you want to join. Next slide. If you join, you can complete the surveys and let the researchers get started by including your information in the National Research Program. Once we get back into the communities, we'll return to places like public libraries, where we can collect your blood and urine samples and complete the physical measurements too, making you a full participant in this National Research Program. And if you don't live in this area or even in Pennsylvania, that's okay. You can still join the study, and there may be a local site near you. You can visit joinallofus.org to find a site in your area. Next slide. So thanks for joining All of Us Pennsylvania Research Program, SciStarter, and the National Network of Libraries of Medicine for Stall Catchers. Tredyffrin Public Library patrons, stay tuned for some more details from Stephanie and Angie about library programs. And we want to thank Dr. Michelucci for a really interesting program today too. Thank you.
Thanks, Lori. All right, so Stephanie, what's our call to action for the people in the audience who are part of Tredyffrin Public Library or Paoli Library? Is it join your stall catchers team? What should we do?
Well, you should definitely join our stall catchers team. I posted the link to join our team on our Facebook page, and in total honesty and transparency, I've been playing myself, listening to the end of our presentation, and it's really easy to use. It's like a video game. It's really fun. So that's the first thing that you can do is join our team through the link on our Facebook page. You can also just learn about the library and stay involved through our website, tredyffrinlibraries.org, where we have our virtual calendar of all of our other programs. Join summer reading at tredyffrinlibraries.beanstack.org, and let us know what else we can do to reach out to our community virtually.
Great, thank you, Stephanie. And another fun thing, coming soon to Tredyffrin Library on Libby, you can access the Field Guide to Citizen Science as an ebook. For those of you who are from other libraries who might be watching, I know this event was open to everybody on Earth because you can play stall catchers anywhere in the world. Hopefully you can find the Field Guide to Citizen Science through your library as well. For our international friends, maybe you could get the ebook. But yeah, if you want to learn more about citizen science and you want to continue the reading theme of summer reading, we recommend checking out the Field Guide to Citizen Science, the book. Another thing we hope you do after this event is you go to SciStarter.org/NLM. You can click on the stall catchers icon right here. And I'm actually going to, as soon as this event ends, I'm going to add a special link on the stall catchers page for the team for Tredyffrin Public Library. So anyone who clicks into stall catchers, they'll see a little thing on the left sidebar on the special stall catchers subpage, so they can find that team. So we hope you go here to discover all the different featured citizen science projects and especially to discover stall catchers. We also have 12 other summer reading events that you can RSVP for featuring different projects on that page. And actually, Stall Catchers is featured in another event coming up with a library in Kansas. So if you want to hear this again, you can come to that event as well and maybe ask some additional questions. So in conclusion, thank you so much. We want you to know that citizen science gives you online at or near home projects for everyone. You can discover these projects at SciStarter.org/NLM, and you can also join the stall catchers team for Tredyffrin Library and get involved in their summer reading. And if you attended this program for people on YouTube and in the Zoom room, we hope that you fill out our survey and let us know how we did so we can improve future programs. I mean, we have 12 more this summer, so you can definitely give us us some constructive criticism, or if you want to say what you liked, that's great too. Before we show a special video, I want to open it up for any last minute questions or any last minute thoughts from the panelists. Let's
I just
see.
want to say thanks again, Caroline, for inviting me and stall catchers to be part of this, and I appreciated the great questions from Lori and the folks who were listening. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you.
Yay! I look like in the chat, Robin, who's a retired public librarian, she said Southeast Regional Library in Gilbert, Arizona participated in the catch-a-thon. Participants had fun. One of our team players has made a lot of contributions. Robin, is this Peg? I think I know exactly the contributor she's talking about. And she says, yes. Fun fact, the Megathon last year, the library that won was Los Angeles Public Library. So maybe Tredyffrin can give them a run for their money. And we'll get some friendly competition going on, not only between Tredyffrin and Paoli, but between Tredyffrin and the world.
Yes.
So in closing, we have a fun video for you. I'm going to change my mic so you'll be able to hear.
And let me just get my sound as loud as possible. I'm going to share my screen one more time. This is from our friends at Tredyffrin. They made this very funny video. And this is the first time I'm seeing it, so I'm really excited. So let's play.
You know we've got the database.
Can everybody hear it?
Yes.
All right.
Database. Yeah, it's pretty clear. This all is crazy new, but we can program in all new ways for you. We want to reach you while keeping our space. We're washing our hands and staying in our places. We offer magazines, borrow flips, foodies, runners, and even hipsters. You got a barcode number, just type it up. Databases are available for all in your file. Yeah, the government told us we all need to stay inside. He says keeping your distance and fighting that curve around. You know we won't stop trying to reach our community. Yeah, we need social distance, but also need unity. Because you know we got that database like Libby. We got that database like Mango. We got that database like TrueFlix. We got that database. Hey, we've got the intertrack. So go and tell your friends and neighbors that. To go from talk stories and reference chat. I'm here to tell you that libraries are here for you. They're never gonna stop. Yeah, the government told us we all need to stay inside. He says keeping your distance can flatten that curve around. You know we want to amuse you, to help you, to keep you strong. From stories and trivia and even a stupid song. Because you know we've got that database like Libby. We've got the database like Mango. We've got that database like TrueFlix. We've got that database.
All right. I loved it. Thank you to our performers today. And please, for people still in the room, go to this link to fill out the survey, tinyurl.com/summer reading to participants. And happy catching. Hope you all enjoy stall catchers.
Thank you.
See you at the next event. Let me check the chat, make sure there aren't any last minute things.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Just like some thanks. All right, well, I'm going to
Yeah.
end it here. Bye, everybody.